Wow, look at that. Wow. Mmm. That is so good. Wow. Mmm. Mmm. You gotta check this video out. Yeah. Mmm. Alright, so I think I have a really cool recipe for you today. I think it's a keto treat. We did a version of this a couple weeks ago with the NutriSense to see how it would go on my glucose, and it didn't spike my insulin and my glucose at all, so no response for insulin, sugar. But we wanted to make a new version of it, and so we're going to actually try to make this a little bit cakier than our older version. So what we're going to try to do is a goodie but an oldie, and that's a keto brownie mix. But we're going to make it a little more cakey than we have in the past. So it's kind of an updated recipe. It's going to be something we're trying. So it's going to be a success or fail. Let's hope for success, right? So hopefully, that's something that's interesting you. And again, these are something that you can have as every once in a great while. It's summertime. They're great to bring for a picnic when you're going somewhere. It's something the kids will eat. It's something everybody will eat. Bring them into the office. Nobody will know that they're keto. So this is what we're looking for anyway. So we're changing the recipe. We're looking for a little bit different consistency than the traditional one that I've made in the past. So my wife and I have kind of tweaked the recipe a little bit, and that's what we're going to try. So again, stick around and let's see how this comes out, right? I'm going to adjust the camera around here, and we're going to start mixing our ingredients and get going with that aspect of it. So let me adjust the camera here. Alright, I think that's good. This is the bowl we're going to use, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in 1 cup of almond flour. Now, depending on the almond flour you get, whether you want to sift it or not, I'm going to leave that purely up to you. This is a 1/4 cup, in case you're wondering. That's why I'm going to put 4 of them in here. So just a 1 full cup of that. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of, this is the sweetener I'm going to use. Now if you really wanted to cut down get a really super low carb, I suppose, if you were doing counting total carbs, if you use some like the Montana monk fruit drops, because those are 0 carbs, whereas this I think has 4 carbs in it, so it would help cut down a little bit. And then the next thing I'm going to use is some of this cocoa powder. How much of this? This is a 1/4 cup of this. We're going to mix that in here as well. So I'm mixing all my dry ingredients. I'm doing that just, I don't know. I know a lot of recipes say mix your wet ingredients first and then do your dry. But I just find it easier to do this and then kind of just set it aside. I'm going to put that in there. And then next I'm going to put 1 teaspoon. You know, I always say tablespoon. When I say teaspoon, this is a teaspoon. So I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of the baking powder in here as well. And then we're just going to mix this up really good. I am, so if I see any clumps in here, I will break them up, just so you know. So, alright, so that looks good to me. That's going to be our mix. That's going to be our powder base that we're going to use. I'm going to set this aside. And then the next thing I'm going to do is this is about 12 tablespoons of butter, and then this is 3 ounces of chocolate. In this case, I'm going to use the Lily's semi-sweet chocolate. For this, I am going to make a ganache for this later. I may use the dark chocolate on the ganache, but that's what I'm going to use for this. So we're going to actually mix the two together, and then we're going to, and the butter is softened. We're going to mix the two together. We're actually going to melt this in the microwave and get those chocolates melted. This will actually help with the consistency as far as getting it kind of fudgy and tasting really fudgy. So I'm going to go throw this in the microwave. We'll come back here once this is all melted up and I'll show you what that's going to look like. All right, while that's melting, I'm going to crack 3 eggs. These are room temperature eggs into a bowl. I'm going to mix these up a little bit. Kind of debating whether I want to use my mixer or not. I think I can mix these good like this. Now the next thing I am going to add to this is I'm actually going to use 1 teaspoon of the apple cider vinegar to this. Now the baking soda and the apple cider vinegar will help cause the almond flour to rise a little bit. I know, when I first started using apple cider vinegar and with the cooking, everybody does the apple cider vinegar challenges and all that kind of stuff, and it's not the best tasting stuff. So I was kind of apprehensive about putting it in my cooking, but it actually doesn't taste terrible when you're making something with it. I have a recipe for some keto donuts too as well. All right, let me go get the butter and see how we're doing with that. All right, so here's our melted butter with the chocolate in it. Looks like we're getting there. Now it's interesting because when you take chocolate, you have to melt it with some kind of fat source. Otherwise it doesn't melt very good and it will burn. If you don't want to do the microwave, you can do this in a double boiler over your stove as well. It's really purely simply up to you. I'm going to put that chopped piece of chocolate in there. Once I don't see any more chocolate chips left. Now you want to be really careful. This is warm. I don't want it hot. I want it warm. I'm going to combine it with here. And we're going to mix it together. It looks pretty good. Alright, so we're going to take these. We're actually going to mix this together. Right. This is where if you get it too hot, you're going to cook your eggs while you're mixing them together. So you just want to make sure you're mixing them good. And that's why it helps with the room temperature eggs. Or they're cold, you can have a reaction as well. Just because I want all this chocolate goodness. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding in some of the dry ingredients into this. Again, this is a really nice treat, summertime treat. Alright, I'll come back here in a second. You don't need me to mix this up, and I'll show you what it looks like all mixed up. Now this is the point where it actually looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. So I'm going to add some slivered almonds to this, just because I like almonds in with it, and I can. Now, last time we made these, we actually put some white chocolate chips inside of them. So this is that point where you can pretty much do whatever you want with them. Like I said, I think we're going to make a ganache to go on top of them. So I'm going to say it's probably about a 1/4 cup or so. You could put some pecans in it. You could put whatever you want in it. That's really up to you. But we have the slivered almonds for some other recipe that we made a while ago, so we want to make sure we're using them up as well. They're really good, and we made it. Actually, put them in our last time we made this too as well. So that's good. All right, we're going to take this. I took an 8x8 pan, put some parchment paper in there. So we're going to take this. And we're going to get that to go in here. All right. All right, this is about it. We're gonna put this in the oven. I have it preheating at 350. I will tell you that I forgot to turn it on, so it's not quite ready yet. But it'll be ready in a minute, and so we're gonna pop this in the oven. Let it go for 20 minutes at 350. Now I will tell you, last time I made these, I let it go about an extra 5 minutes because it didn't quite look like it was done to me. Now there is a lot of butter in here, so as it cools, it will stiffen up a little bit. I use these as clips too, just to hold it on there. But that's the way it's gonna look. And hopefully we get a little bit of a rise out of it as well, so it gets that cakier feeling out of it. A little preliminary taste test. All right, so we're gonna come back in a few minutes. I'll show you what it looks like when it's coming out of the oven. All right, so this has been in there. I let it go an extra 5 minutes. I let that go in the oven an extra 5 minutes. That's what it came out looking like. I wanted to be a little cakier than the original recipe, and I think it looks better. I'm gonna do the good old toothpick and try it. I may throw it back in there for another couple minutes. So we're going to throw this back in there for another 5 minutes, and we'll come back and check it in 5 minutes. Alright, this is done. Let's do the old toothpick test again. Perfect, perfect. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to just let this cool for probably 15 or 20 minutes, and then we're going to make our ganache. If you put the ganache on when it's hot, it just melts. So, but I think we have a really good base here. So we're going to take this, let it cool. We'll take it out of the pan, and I'm going to let this cool before we take it out of the pan, right? So. Well, I guess I could take it out of the pan now. That way there it will cool better. Alright, we'll come back in a few minutes. That looks pretty good to me. And then we'll make the ganache, and I will show you what that looks like. I'm thinking this looks really good. I think I'm getting the consistency that I'm looking for on it. So I'll show you what it looks like. Make sure it doesn't slide off the plate, off the cutting board I put it on. So I think it looks pretty good. Alright, so this is nice and cool. I plated it up so it looks a little bit better on the plate. Right, and then we're going to put the ganache on here. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do for the ganache. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I got some heavy cream. I need about a half a cup. I'm hoping there's a half a cup in here. I'm just going to pour it in a bowl. And I'm going to hope there's a half a cup in here. There isn't much in here. I'm not going to measure it out. I'm just going to use it all. Because it's 2/3 of a cup or whatever. So then I'm going to just warm this up. So I'm going to warm this up just a little bit, 20 seconds at a time, because I want to get this up just above room temperature. And then we're going to mix in, and then I'm going to mix in a little bit of this cocoa. This is unsweetened cocoa I'm going to mix in. This is the granola one that we picked up somewhere. It was on sale. I don't remember where it was. So, alright, so I'm going to heat this up. We'll come back once I get this all set in a couple of seconds and show you mixing in the rest of the ingredients. Alright, so this is warm enough now. I'm actually going to put in, a half a cup of the cocoa. Actually, I should probably use a quarter in here. I'll throw this in the sink. And we're going to mix this all up, and I should have put a fork out. All right, now what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to take, and I'm going to put in about, this is a teaspoon and a half. I'm going to use some erythritol in here as well. This is going to be the sweetener we're going to use. It's kind of like it's actually a lot finer powder than the erythritol. So this is allulose, I mean. So allulose. I can tell you right now that this is probably a little thicker than I would like. I would probably like to have a little bit more cream, but I don't have any more cream. So we're going to make do with what we have, though. All right, we're going to take in... Sorry. I guess I should have been a little more prepared, so... We're actually going to take this and we're actually going to spread it on the top. I'm going to set this over here. And I'm hoping you can see this. And I'm just going to spread it around, right? So. It's a little thicker than I probably would like. I'd like it a little thinner so when it settles it sends on thin. This works. It works. I wasn't sure how much cream I had, heavy cream. I didn't want to run to the store and get it here. All right. You know, one of my biggest things is not much of a cake decorator, so should I flick it? All right, so that's the way it came out. That's the way it looks. Let me take a couple pictures real quick, and then we'll come back and do a taste test. All right, we're gonna do the taste test now. I will say that I will put this recipe on the on it. Now, I will say that this is 100% cocoa. Cocoa is really bitter, so you may want to make sure that you're taste testing as you're putting the sugar in there, just to make sure you get enough in there. So. All right. Here's the finale. That sounds really good. Wow, that's really good. Really, really good. So I haven't redone the macros on these yet. I actually put this recipe on the website that I have under alansawesomeKetoWorld.com. So go over there and check it out. Give me a day or two, and I will put this up on the website. And then if you want to make it, the recipe for the whole thing will be there. This is really, really good. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell icon right next to it. I was really worried about the dark chocolate because it is a little bit bitter, but it actually came out okay when you mix it with the chocolate from the cake and stuff. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Hey, if you like this content and you'd like to see other great videos like this, check out this video over here, or go over there and check out this video over here, because you guys are awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next video.